So welcome to today's presentation. We are here this morning ahead of Concussion Awareness Day, which is tomorrow, to learn more about concussions, what they are, how to prevent them, and what it's like to recover from one, and what resources you can turn to if you have one. This event is hosted by the Brain Injury Alliance of New Jersey, a statewide organization dedicated to providing support to people impacted by brain injury and education to help prevent brain injuries. Joining us from the Brain Injury Alliance of New Jersey is their board president, Mr. Stephen Benvenisti. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Now, we've all heard of concussions, but did you know that every concussion is a brain injury? We've all heard of brain injuries. Every brain injury is serious. There are different types of brain injuries. And a lot of people don't know that there are over 2 million new brain injuries every single year in our emergency departments reported every single year. A lot of people don't know that 283,000 of those just involve students, athletes involved in football, basketball, soccer, some are playground injuries. It is really serious. And I know even before I got involved with the Brain Injury Alliance of New Jersey, when I heard concussion, I didn't think it would be that serious. Because I know a lot of people, when they think about concussion, they think about people like in the photographs. Wendy, I'm not sure if you have some of those photographs, but I'm a personal injury attorney in my private life. I'm a partner at a law firm, Davis, Saperstein, and Solomon, and we represent people who've had concussions, many of them after a crash, many of them after a fall. And that's when sometimes I am the first one to tell my client that they had a traumatic brain injury. So those photos, I always say, are of the most significant case of my entire career. It's actually a photograph of a student from New Jersey. He was on spring break. He went to the College of New Jersey. Life was great. Had a girlfriend, was active in all the sports. And 6 weeks before he graduated college, he decided to go for spring break in Daytona Beach, Florida. And one night when he is walking, a repeat offender drunk driver with his lights off to his car, going over 50 miles per hour, just crashes into that student. His body smashed against the hood of the car. His face went through the outside windshield. Witnesses saw his body tumbling in the street 70 feet ahead. And then his parents got that phone call that every doctor says it's the worst phone call that they have to make multiple times a year, that their son was unconscious in the deepest possible coma. And you may or may not know that comas are measured by something called the Glasgow Coma Score. It measures levels of consciousness. The lowest level of consciousness that anyone can be in is a 3. The highest level, which we all are at, is a 15. When someone's at a 3, according to the Journal of American Association, that there is no chance of survival, and the very few survival stories that there have been, that people have been totally and permanently disabled. So the reason why I like to open my programs telling the story of this student in this case is because the photographs that you're being shown, the story that I just told you of the most significant case of my entire career, well, the photographs and the story, they're all of me when I went to college in New Jersey. These pictures are of me. And my parents got that phone call. I eventually woke up out of the coma after a couple of weeks. I remained in the hospital for half a year. I had 15 surgeries, but I had that full recovery that I dreamed of. And that's what got me involved with the Brain Injury Alliance of New Jersey. That's why I embrace them in everything that they do. That's why the Brain Injury Alliance of New Jersey is one of its top priorities, just tries to see whether the brain injuries can be prevented in the first place. We really want to be out of business when it comes to new brain injuries. That's why we're here today. That's why we embrace certain legislators, because many doctors and many legislators don't get it, but there is a legislator, a senator in this room I have the honor of sitting right next to me, Senator Patrick Diegnan, who gets it. He gets that every concussion is a brain injury, and he does something about it. In spite of his having such a busy schedule, being in charge of the 18th district in our state and making sure that all the laws in our state are fair, he is the reason why there are protocols. When someone is playing a sport, if there is a suspicion of a concussion, that student is removed from the sport until they are of a condition to be able to return to that sport. He is the reason why there are concussion management teams throughout our state that make sure that people who've sustained a concussion get the right care and the right protocols so that they can be safely returned to their prior routine if that is medically possible. With all that I know about brain injury, with my having been a lawyer now for decades, I am 100% convinced, Senator, that you are the reason why people are living better quality of lives today. And that's a huge part of our mission, improving the quality of lives of people who are living with brain injury. But we can't do it without legislators like you. I am convinced that because of Senator Diegnan, there are people who are alive today who would not otherwise be. So there aren't enough words to express my appreciation and the appreciation of our Board of Trustees and everyone who's involved with the Brain Injury Alliance of New Jersey. But before I ask you to join me in a round of applause, as a small token of our appreciation, Senator, we wanted to give you a hat that's right in front of you. That's because you are one of the champions in New Jersey. And there are some, but you are one of the champions when it comes to making sure these concussions don't exist. And I also, and please tell me if I'm pronouncing correctly, Senator Diegnan.
He's doing it right.
I'm going to present you with a plaque on behalf of the Brain Injury Alliance of New Jersey as another very small token of our appreciation for the lives that you have saved and all that you have done. But thank you again. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, one more thing. Every single one of you at some point today is going to be getting a contract for life. That is something that I've created, which is an agreement between you and a parent that says if you've ever been in a situation where there's no way for you to get home without being driven by someone who's been drinking or is impaired, whether it's you or a friend, that they're going to stop what they're doing. They're going to come get you. They're going to bring you home safely. They promise they will never take any impairing substances, including alcohol, and get behind the wheel of a car. And most importantly, they're not going to punish you. This is a contract. It's binding. And if your parents violate it, call my office and I will sue them on your behalf. Thank you.
I'm going to give you guys a word of advice as you go forward. Never follow a lawyer when you're making comments. Only kidding, only kidding. Not really, except for giving me way too much credit. Everything that was just said is absolutely appropriate. When I was sitting here, I was thinking of a couple of things. I have notes, which I never follow my notes anyhow. Metuchen, what's its nickname? The Brainy Burrow. The thing that we all do, all of us do it. You try to, quote unquote, tough it out. I'll give you a real life story. My youngest daughter, Tara, when she was in high school, she was dating a guy. His name is Mike Billion. And Mike was a football player. And back then, there was no concussion awareness at all. I can remember when I played sports, as hard as that is to believe, the coach would say, rub some dirt on it. If you injured your leg or if you were hit in the head. The helmets were just awful. Mike literally was playing football, unbeknownst to him, suffered a concussion, went back into the game. At the end of the game, he didn't even know who Tara was. He didn't even know her name, my daughter Tara. He went home. They didn't send him to the doctor. Thank God he's fine. But you can't tough it out. And I'm saying this not only for you personally, if you suffer a concussion, but if you see someone that suffers a concussion, if a friend is, and it doesn't have to be football or basketball, as was just said, it could be an automobile accident. It could be jogging down your street and you trip on the sidewalk. It could be absolutely anything. Be on vacation at the beach and the umbrella hits you in the head because it gets windy. If you see something that doesn't seem right, you have to report it. You have to go to the doctor because brain injury can go on for years. There was actually a show on CNN the other day about this young woman who has been suffering migraine headaches for 20 years. And finally they figured out that it's because of a concussion she suffered when she was in camp when she was like 10 years old. So if this happens, please don't think, oh, gee, I'm turning on my friend. I shouldn't tell anybody. And we in New Jersey, thank goodness that, he's giving me credit for all this stuff. Here's the guy that deserves credit. The guy sitting in the front row. Tom has called me, and he's the one that first called me about the whole concussion awareness and said, Pat, we got to do something about it. And New Jersey, as in so many other ways, is now a leader when it comes to concussion awareness. In New Jersey, if you suffer or if there's a suspicion you suffer a concussion, they must pull you out of the game, and you must be cleared before you can go back to school, and you can't go play again until you can't play sports again until you're back in school. That's common sense. That's absolutely common sense. So I'm not going to blabber on and on and on, but what I'm going to ask all of you here today to do, because, you're students, but still you're the ones that live this every day. If there's something that we should be doing, if you think there's something we should be doing in terms not only of concussion, but in terms of anything to protect you, to make your lives safe, to encourage kids to participate, let us know. It doesn't have to be me. It can be any legislator. Because I always say all of my best ideas were somebody else's. They came to me and they said, Pat, there's a problem here. Can we take care of X, Y, and Z? So I'm proud to represent you. I'm proud of the state of New Jersey, but there's always more work to be done. Don't hesitate to reach out to me or to your principal or your teachers or anybody else. Everybody is here to make our lives safer and keep up the good work. We're proud of you.
Thank you, Senator.
Thank you, Mr. Benvenisti and Senator Diegnan. In the next part of our program, we'll learn more about the resources we have at our school or at the schools to help students who have had a concussion and to hear from a student who has sustained a concussion. First, we'll hear from Dr. Vincent Caputo, Superintendent of Metuchen Public Schools. Welcome, Dr. Caputo.
Thank you. Nice guy.
Good morning, everybody. A few words of gratitude from me today. First of all, thank you to all the student athletes for being here. You know that we value athletics just like we value the arts and academics, and it's really important that that student athletes are here to hear this message today. Mr. Porowski, thank you for working so diligently to put this program together. It required a lot of logistics, a lot of coordination. So thank you for in the midst of a beginning of a school year putting this together. Thank you to the Brain Injury Alliance. At a time when science is under attack nationally, it's very, very encouraging to me to learn about the work that the Alliance is doing with doctors and researchers and making sure all citizens, particularly today, our student athletes are safe. Senator Diegnan, thank you for keeping concussion awareness at the forefront. Your legislation helps our students everywhere and every day. Today's an important awareness event. I want to reiterate the importance of creating concussion awareness and supporting students both in and out of the classroom. As a reminder, while we're focusing on student athletes today, any student may sustain a concussion. It's important for school personnel to have the proper training so we can support these students both in and out of the classroom. And finally, just a word about one of the unsung heroes of today's awareness event, Mr. Greg Tafaro. Greg's been a selfless, fierce advocate for student athletes throughout the county. Many of you know him. Thank you, my friend, for your warrior-like advocacy for all of our student athletes. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Dr. Caputo. Next we will have Lilia Barlis, our student athlete at Metuchen High School.
You got this. Deep breaths.
Hi, everybody. I'm Lilia, and I'm going to be telling you my experience with a concussion and my recovery with it. So last year, I got a concussion. During one of my soccer matches, there was a corner kick. The girl tried to take a shot, and my head got in the way. At first, I didn't really know what happened, and when I got up, I was really, really dizzy, and all my friends were telling me to sit down because I looked messed up. So when I got back up, the whistle started blowing and I sat back down. I went off the field and I did a bunch of tests and I was told I probably had a concussion. After I was told I had a concussion, my parents took me to see a concussion professionalist. They did some more tests and they officially diagnosed me with a concussion. After that happened, I stayed home for a couple days and I was mostly in my bed asleep. But when I returned to school, it was a struggle. The lights were really bright, so I had to wear sunglasses. The sunglasses were a little weird because I was inside, but it did help me. With schoolwork, it was really hard because I had to look at screens all day, and looking at screens made it really difficult for me. But a lot of teachers were very understanding, gave me lots of time, and even gave me paper assignments that helped me a lot. But for soccer, I couldn't really play at all, and I just had to sit out and watch my friends play. Outside of school, I mainly had to sit out during my dance classes because the lights were very bright, and the music was very loud. Something that really helped me was just resting and not looking at screens at all and just being in dark rooms. With the dark rooms and the quiet noise, it really helped me. But I did try to push through a lot, which wasn't really good at all. Because when I pushed through, I just ended up feeling worse. And by pushing through, I wasn't really healing at all. So until your doctor clears you, you really shouldn't push through your concussion. Thank you.
You did great. I'm so proud of you.
It's not easy sharing your story, and I think we're very proud of Lilia for being able to do so. So let's give Lilia another round of applause. Next, we're going to invite Mrs. Molly Grant, our athletic trainer here at Metuchen High School, to speak to us.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Mrs. Grant. I'm the certified athletic trainer here at Metuchen High School. I'm excited to be a part of the Concussion Awareness Day because this is such an important topic for both our athletes and our students. When a concussion happens, it does not just affect performance within your sport, it affects life in the classroom too. That's why New Jersey has very specific return to play and return to learn policies designed to keep students safe and give their brains the time they need to heal. So what does that mean? For return to play, the law requires that any athlete suspected of a concussion must be immediately removed from play. There are no exceptions and no same-day return. Before coming back, you need clearance from a doctor trained in concussion management, followed by a gradual step-by-step progression. That means starting with normal school activities, then light exercise, sport-specific drills, non-contact practice, and finally, full contact practice. If this is all achieved without symptoms, the student-athlete may return to sport without restrictions. Rushing back into sports too soon risks something called second impact syndrome. This occurs when you suffer another concussion before the first one is healed. Even the most minor blow to the head can be detrimental. Imagine your brain like your phone after you dropped it. The screen cracks a little bit, but before you fix it, you drop it again and the screen shatters. That's what a second concussion can do to your brain if you don't give it time to heal. For return to learn, the focus is on academics. After a concussion, students often struggle with headaches, light sensitivity, memory problems, and even sometimes concentration issues. With the assistance of your guidance counselor, we will be able to support a gradual reintegration into classwork. Sometimes that means shorter school days, extra time for assignments, or breaks during the day. The goal is to help the brain recover without overwhelming it. Both policies are essential in the recovery process. Pushing through academics without the right support can prolong recovery, lower grades, and increase stress. Just remember, everyone's concussion may look different, as well as the recovery timeline, so patience and honesty are key. At the end of the day, we are all only given one brain for the rest of our lives, so it is important we provide the necessary care it needs. Recovery takes a team effort: athletic trainers, coaches, teachers, nurses, parents, and most importantly, you. When everyone communicates and follows the process, recovery is smoother and safer. So today I want to leave you with this. Return to play and return to learn are not just rules, they're lifelines. They protect your health, your academics, and your future. Reporting symptoms honestly and following the process isn't a setback, but an investment in long-term success and healing. At the end of the day, our shared goal is simple: to make sure every student recovers fully so they can succeed not only in sports, but in life as well.
Thank you, Mrs. Grant. Now we have Mr. Mike Noth, who is in his 10th season as the Metuchen High School's varsity soccer coach.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Mike Noth. I am the women's varsity soccer coach here at the high school, and I'm going to give you a coach's perspective on concussions. As a coach, it's important to ensure students who have received concussions get the right services and support. Those supports are crucial for successful recovery. As a coach, this is how I approach this. When a suspected injury occurs, you suspect somebody have hit their head in a game and it could be an injury, immediate response is necessary. You have to communicate. We need to get the player off the field. We have to make sure they're no longer playing and they get assessed. We tell our athletic trainer, who almost certainly is the one doing the initial assessments. And then we have to notify parents, guardians, and recommend that they get medical treatment. Following up afterwards is also important. We need to follow all the medical protocols. Protocols would include requiring a written clearance from the doctor before the student or player can return. We have to follow the school's return to play and return to learn protocols that Ms. Grant had mentioned to you a few minutes earlier. There also has to be a coordination of academic and athletic supports. That means we have to inform teachers. We have to tell school counselors, the school nurse. They're all part of the team that ensures the students' good health. We have to be flexible in regarding expectations for training and for play. I mean, sometimes you could be out for a couple of days. Sometimes you could be out for a couple of months. It just depends on, the severity of the injury. Collaborating with the athletic trainer is also crucial in regarding player progress. Progress and symptoms need monitoring. Checking regularly with the student about their symptoms, both in practice and in class. Staying alert for signs of lingering or worsening symptoms. And reporting concerns to parents and medical professionals. Ongoing education is also crucial. We have to educate students. We have to educate their teammates and their parents about concussion symptoms and the importance of reporting them honestly. Advocating for student needs is also important. It's important because it ensures no one pressures players or students to return to an activity before they're ready. And finally, fostering a supportive environment is crucial. And coaches need to encourage teammates to be understanding, to be supportive. Reinforce that students' health comes first, and the recovery is a priority over any kind of immediate performance. By taking these steps, a coach can ensure students receive necessary medical, academic, and emotional supports so they can make a full recovery and safely return to their activities. It's also important to understand concussions are serious business. Potential for problems later in life are very real. So you need to take this serious if it does happen. Athletes themselves have to take responsibility for recognizing the symptoms. And there's a variety of symptoms for concussions. There's physical symptoms, cognitive symptoms, emotional, sleep-related. Some physical symptoms that you need to be aware of. I mean, you could have a headache or pressure in the head. Nausea or vomiting, dizziness or balance problems, blurred or double vision, sensitivity to light or noise, feeling sluggish or groggy or dazed. Cognitively, you could have difficulty concentrating or remembering, feeling mentally foggy or slowed down, confusion or trouble understanding. Emotional symptoms include irritability or mood changes, sadness or anxiety, sometimes nervousness, or maybe you feel more emotional than you normally feel on a regular basis. And then there's sleep-related symptoms, drowsiness or sleeping more than usual, or difficulty falling asleep, sometimes sleeping less than usual. They're all symptoms of potential concussions. And in closing, there are consequences of concussions. There are short-term consequences and there are long-term consequences, and they have to be managed properly. A short-term consequence could be difficulty in school or work due to problems with memory or concentration, increased risk for another concussion if returning too soon. Ms. Grant mentioned about secondary, concussions occurring. I mean, you can't go back until you're ready. Emotional instability, such as mood swings or irritability, they're all short-term things that can happen right away. Long-term, there's prolonged symptoms, which is called post-concussion syndrome, which can last weeks, sometimes months. There's an increased risk of future concussions and more severe brain injury. There's a potential for chronic encephalopathy, which is called CTE. It's with repeated injuries. You can have long-term lasting effects. I don't know if you follow professional football, but in the news over the last number of years, they're finding out that there are many retired professional football players who, because of the nature of the sport, they're hitting each other with helmets all the time, they have life-altering effects on their brain because of the constant hitting. So it's something that people your age need to be aware of and absolutely take seriously. So recognizing symptoms early, allowing enough time for proper recovery, they are the keys to preventing serious and lasting consequence. Thank you.
Nice job, Mr. Nerva. Thank you.
Thank you, Coach. Our last speaker today is Mr. Anthony Maselli, Chief Operating Officer of the NJSIAA, the New Jersey State Interscholastic Athletic Association.
Thank you.
So I just want to say Senator Diegnan stole my whole speech, so I'm going to try to make up a new one up here. It's been about 35 years since I've been on the stage. I was actually a coach here and teacher for 10 years, and then I was the athletic director for 3 years. So this is where my entire career started. I know Coach Omer, a good friend of mine, was back there. I don't think he's back there anymore. We coached together for 10 years. And I can't tell you, and I'm kind of embarrassed to say it, but in 1990, when we were coaching football here, how many times you might have said, hey, tough it out. You're okay, right? Back then, we didn't know what concussions were. We didn't know what the deal was. We didn't know the severity. But we would say, tough it out. Come on, get back in the game. Now that I know what it is, it's a whole different ballgame. I played college football. I don't know. I can't tell you how many times I got up and kind of a little dizzy and said, I'm not coming out of this game. I don't care who says anything. I got to make sure I'm stable. I can function, and I'm going back into the play. So those days are over, though. At the NJSIA, we service almost 440 high schools in New Jersey. We service over 30,000 athletes in the state of New Jersey, all playing sports, every sport you can imagine. We get calls all the time. What do I do? How is the how is the return to play work? Parents call. The coach sent my kid back into the game, and I think they had a concussion. We get all those kinds of calls. What I can tell you is the NJSA number one responsibility is to provide a safe playing environment for every student athlete in New Jersey. That's our pledge to you. We have come so far in terms of concussion management, concussion recognition, that it's incredible since the days Coach Omer and I coached together here. We've come so far. However, we're still not quite there yet. And why are we not there? We're not there because we need your help, okay? There is no data out there that tells you how many concussions we missed because athletes didn't say anything. Okay, if the old thing when you used to watch the New York subway, if you see something, say something, right? Well, as an athlete, if you feel something, you need to say something. And in the days of, you're a wimp, or, you're going to lose your starting job, or whatever that be, are over. It's your health that's important. Like I said, I played 4 years of high school, played 4 years of college. Who knows if I have CTE? You never know. I've been banged in my head so many times, it's crazy. So the health is our most important thing at the NJSA. So I want to challenge you. I want to challenge the seniors. I want to challenge the captains to notice, to feel something and you say something and not feel like you can't, because those days are over. Trust me. Every once in a while, we'll get a call in my office and from an athletic trainer who says the coach put the kid in the game without my authority, back in the game without my authority. And we will hammer that coach. That coach will get fined. That coach will come to the office, go through a 3-hour session for the bad boy coaches, we call it. So that is all part of our promise to you regarding concussions. We have an outstanding medical advisory committee, which I'm on at the NJSA, filled with all kinds of doctors. How can we do things better? How can we make football? How can we make soccer, cheerleading, gymnastics? How can we make those sports that are more susceptible to concussions better? That's our whole job, and that's what we do, and I think we do a good job. We've always been recognized the top 3 in the country for safety of athletes. I think we got beat out by South Carolina this year, which is annoying, but we'll try better. But we're always in the top 3. So, first I want to ask, who out there, I'm sure plenty of you had some type of concussion, but I'm going to ask your athletic trainer not to close her eyes. I want to know how many people out there, raise your hand, that thought they may have had a concussion and didn't say anything. Okay? All right, so that's a good number. That I'm surprised because I was going to call you all liars if nobody answered, but that is a good number, and I'm glad you're honest about that because it's important. Because down the road, I've known my college buddies who I played with, a couple played in the NFL. I know those guys, and some of them are struggling. Some of them struggling when they go into a room that's lighted, very bright. So it's a long life effect for some of those people. So all we're saying is there's so much data out there that we know about, that we're doing a great job in New Jersey about. But the big thing is you guys. The big thing is to notice it, get through it. You may think something's wrong and it may end up not. But important thing is to get it taken care of. So before I leave, I want to say, go Dogs.
Okay, the other. Okay.
Oh, what a great group of speakers. I really hope that today, September 18th, 2025, changed your life, that you learned something new. How many people, please raise your hands. Did you learn something new today about concussions that you didn't know before? Look at that. That's practically everyone in the room. Now you are of the 19% of people who did not know that every concussion is a brain injury. So we do have time for questions. I'm going to ask, if you're not asking questions, to please not talk. But if you have any questions of any of our wonderful speakers, now is your time. So please raise your hand high and don't be shy. Well, if there aren't questions, I think all of us are grateful that practically every one of you have shared that you learned something new today. Most importantly, let's hope that today, September 18th, 2025, is a reason why you will not get a concussion in the future. And if God forbid you do, you are now empowered with knowledge to make sure that you wind up in the best possible outcome possible. So thank you again, and thank you for the wonderful speakers, and thank you to Senator.